I'm supposed to talk to you about work-life balance during cardiac surgery residency. Hilarious, right? Yeah, because even I feel so. It's like finding an 8-O needle in the abdomen while doing a laparotomy. Everyone is searching for it. Some say it's there, some say it's not there. Eventually, no one finds it. So, let's have a different conversation instead. A real one. Let me tell you something I wish someone told me when I was where you are. Second year of my residency, we were almost 6 hours through a complex CABG. Everything was going fine, the patient was stable. My phone was buzzing in my pocket for quite a long time. Obviously, I ignored it. When the case was done, I shifted the patient to the ICU, went back to the locker room, saw my phone. My mom had called, 17 missed calls. My uncle had a heart attack. He was rushed to the ICU. He was stable now, but it had been close. I remember standing there and thinking, I was literally doing an open heart surgery while my uncle, very close to me, his heart was failing. I told myself, I'd done the right thing. My patient was there. My patient needed me. I was there. I'd made a professional choice. But something broke in me that day because I realized I had become the kind of person who could rationalize missing the relative's life or death situation because there was a case to finish. And I didn't know if that made me a good surgeon or a bad nephew, or maybe both. Here's the paradox they don't prepare you for. I love cardiac surgery. Holding a beating heart, stopping it, fixing it, restarting it, there's nothing like that. But that love was also destroying me. You can love something and still have it hurt you at the same time, isn't it? Surgery was my identity, my purpose, my world, but it was also why I hadn't slept for more than 4 hours in months. It was why I missed my brother's wedding. It was why I wasn't there for my mom's treatment. It was why my relationship ended. It was why I didn't remember anything that I had done in the past 4 months which was not related to surgery. How many of you know exactly what I'm talking about? Yeah, I thought so. So now here's where it gets interesting. I could throw statistics at you about burnout rates, tell that 65% residents are burnt out, or show you some numbers on prevalences, comorbidities in residents and all. But you've heard it, it's boring, I think it's misleading too. Let me give you some statistics that they don't tell you about. Stat 1. Cardiac surgeons have the highest divorce rates in medicine, nearly 33%. But we also have the highest job satisfaction rates. 85% of cardiac surgeons would choose the same career again. So think about this. We'll sacrifice our marriages, but we love our work. Stat 2. A 2019 study says that residents who work more than 80 hours a week showed lesser burnout rates compared to residents who worked 60 to 80 hours a week. Why? Because residents who work more than 80 hours a week were totally engrossed into their job, fully immersed into it. While the ones who work 60 to 80 hours a week, they were trying to find balance and failing at it and feeling guilty about it. So it's not the hours that kill you, it's the guilt about those hours that disturbs you. Stat 3. Only 27% of Indian cardiac surgery programs actually track the operative requirements of residents. And 87% of residents who finish training feel underconfident. Not because they didn't work hard, but because the system never gave them chances, opportunities they deserved. I know this is not surprising, but here's my question for you. What are you doing to be in that 13% confident ones? Are you tracking your growth log, however slow it is? Are you identifying the specific skills that you need and asking for those opportunities? Are you seeking feedback for yourself? Because the residents who finished confident, they weren't just working hard, they were working strategically. This kind. They took ownership of their training. This kind. The system has gaps. Okay, the system has gaps. Every system does. But you can navigate those gaps only if you know they exist and can come to terms with it. So the prime question is now, it is not how do I change this? It is not how should I go abroad? It is not how do I work less? Or it is not how do I find balance? The prime question is how do I own this path instead of just surviving it? So here's what I've learned observing residents in cardiac surgery. There are basically two types of cardiac surgery residents. Yeah, there are basically two types of cardiac surgery residents. Type 1, you live in the hospital, not because you have to, because you want to. Every case is interesting for you. Every complication is a puzzle. You'd rather be in the OR than anywhere else in the world. A family member calls, you're operating. A friend calls, you're doing a case. And most importantly, you're genuinely happy this way. But here's the risk with type 1. Now this is an actual caller who called on the helpline. A surgical resident had a hand injury, tendon damage, couldn't operate for next 8 weeks. Week 1 he was fine. He was going through newsletters, video recordings, surgical videos. Week 3 he was depressed. Week 4 he reached out to us. He took almost 5 minutes to say something, very hesitant. And finally he said, I don't know who I am if I'm not operating. And he just cried for another 5-7 minutes. He'd merged his identity entirely with surgery. And that was fine until surgery was taken away from him. Type 2. You actually leave your shift when it ends, if you can. You try to go home for festivals. You try to make it for functions. You need time and space for yourself to decompress, to not think about surgery for a few hours. Type 2 cardiac surgery residents. But every time you do this, there's a voice in your head. I'm at home, my colleague is getting to operate that case. Am I falling behind? Am I not serious enough about this? So here's the risk with type 2. I've watched brilliant type 2 residents struggle in cardiac surgery. Not because they couldn't handle the work, they could, but because they couldn't handle feeling guilty every single day for having boundaries. Every time you leave early, you wonder, am I less committed than my co-resident? Every time you skip a case to attend a function, you worry what the consultant might think of me. Every time you choose family over hospital, there's guilt. And the worst part, our culture reinforces it. Consultants praise type 1. Now that's dedication. That's the kind of resident we need. They don't say it to hurt you, mind it. They don't say it to hurt you, but you hear it. Your co-residents joke, it might feel nice to have a life outside surgery, right? They're not malicious, but it stings. And you, type 2, start to wonder, am I not cut out for this? Am I not surgical enough? The guilt compounds, the self-doubt creeps in. Now, nobody says it explicitly, but the message is clear. Being type 1 is the right way of being a cardiac surgeon. And here's what happens. Type 2 residents start feeling like they need to become type 1. Not because they want to, because they feel they have to. So they try to force themselves into type 1. They start staying back late till night, skipping family events, saying yes to every case, every night shift, every extra night duty. And you know what happens? They don't become type 1. They become miserable, burnt out versions of type 2. Because you burn out from the constant internal conflict between who you are and who you want to become. You can't fake your wiring, friends. You can't fake your wiring. You can only exhaust yourself trying to do that. So here's what I want you to hear. If you're type 2, you don't need to become type 1. You need to own being type 2, that's all. But here's the hard truth. Some of the best surgeons that I have seen are type 1. And some of the best surgeons that I have seen are type 2. Neither type is wrong. Just that both the types have their own risks. Type 1, you lose yourself when surgery gets taken away. Type 2, you lose yourself to guilt while surgery is still there. The problem isn't which type you are. The problem is not choosing which type you are. Because then you drift unconsciously. Like when you sacrifice everything, still you resent it. Or when you try to have boundaries, but you feel guilty about it. Either ways, you are miserable. So after that day with my uncle, I started to question, not just to myself, to my colleagues around, senior residents, to consultants who had been through this. And what I realized was nobody talks about this. Everyone talks about caseload, surgical volumes, research papers. But seldom do we talk about how to go through this without losing ourselves in the process. This conference, though, is a pleasant exception to this. After my residency, I started a listening helpline for students and residents. It was just a phone line where you could connect to anonymously 24/7 to talk, vent, share. We offer no advice, no therapy, no fixing, just offering presence. And over 3 years, we've got around 2,500 calls. Not from weak people, not from people who couldn't handle it, from brilliant residents and students who just needed someone to hear them. And here's what I learned from all these conversations. 3 hard truths. Hard truth 1. You cannot have balance during residency. You can have work-life awareness. You can have conscious work-life choices, but balance, no. So stop trying to achieve something that doesn't exist. It will just make you feel that you are failing. Hard truth 2. You will miss things, important things. Weddings, family functions, ceremonies, your child's first step, maybe your parents' last days. The question isn't whether you'll miss things or no. The question is, which things are you willing to miss? And which things will you regret forever? So choose consciously. Don't let your department schedule choose for you. Hard truth 3. Some of your friends will leave this field. Not because they're weak, but because they've realized that the cost is too high. I've watched brilliant residents leave this program mid-residency. They're not failures. They're just people who chose differently. And if that's you, if someday you wake up and realize that this isn't worth what it's costing, it doesn't make you a quitter. It just makes you self-aware. Alright, enough philosophy. Let's get to practical. So what do you actually do with all this? Step 1 is know yourself. Are you someone who thrives on total immersion like type 1? Or are you someone who needs space, boundaries to survive, type 2? Neither is wrong. But you need to know which type you are, because only then can you make conscious choices and not drift. If you are the type 1, build one safeguard. Maintain one thing that's not surgery. One hobby, one internal tool, one beautiful relationship, one anchor, one instrument, anything. Because one day you'll need it. And then schedule a non-negotiable time for this. Not key, I'll do if I have time. Even if it's just 1 hour a week of something which is not surgery, reading, dancing, listening to music, schedule it and let it be non-negotiable. Thursday 8 to 9, I play my guitar. Have an accountability partner. Someone who checks in. Are you eating? Are you sleeping? Are you showering? Not kidding. Find someone who will tell you when you're going off track. Third, watch for the warning signs. Can't remember your last day off. Can't remember the last meal that you had outside the hospital. Are you now snapping at people very easily? Are you getting irritated very easily? These are not badges of honor. These are warning signs. Now, if you are that type 2, be explicit about your boundaries. Don't just disappear. Tell your team, today I'll have to leave at 8 p.m. for there's an important repair work at home. Own it. Don't sneak out guilty. protect your recovery time fiercely. If you have carved out time for yourself or your family, protect it like you'll protect the myocardium. It's not an option, it's essential. Third, find your people, other residents on the same path. Build a community that supports boundaries, not guilt. Find your type 2 mentor. They exist. Please note. Find your type 2 mentors. They exist. They are just quieter than type 1. They're not bragging about the number of volumes and CABGs they are doing because they're not into it. But they are there. They work within boundaries. They prioritize recovery. They have beautiful families. Find them, watch them, learn from them. Let me close by sharing about one more call we had. He was a final year cardiac surgery resident. He got to do an AHD that morning. The same night, his patient expired. A preventable complication. At 2 a.m. he called. He said, I don't think I will operate anymore. I killed someone. We didn't offer advice. We didn't fix him. We didn't tell him that he's being dramatic. We just offered presence for an hour. Let him talk. Let him process. Let him cry. He cried for just after this one sentence, he cried for another 20 minutes. 1 month later, we got a call from the same number. He just called to say that I'm still here. I'm still operating. That call saved my life. He didn't need solutions. He needed a witness. And that's what Tell Me is. All of you deserve to have access to a space, to a person, to a group where you can be vulnerable and process your chaos. Look, I can't tell you how to go through this. I can't tell you what you should protect or what you should sacrifice. But I can tell you this, you are going to make sacrifices, period. Everyone does, that's the nature of cardiac surgery. But make them consciously. Don't let the system choose for you. Don't let guilt choose for you. Don't let the fear of judgment choose for you. Choose what you are willing to give. Choose what you are willing to not give and own the choices. Because at the end of residency, at the end of your career, no one is going to ask you how many CABGs you did or how many hours you worked. They're going to ask, did you become the surgeon that you wanted to be? Did you build the life that you wanted to live? And only you can answer that. This job, my friends, this job will take everything that you are willing to give and still ask for more. So don't do it alone. Talk to someone. Not when you are in crisis now. A therapist, a senior, a friend, a mentor, someone outside the OR bubble who will give you a perspective about yourself and your current phase of life. See, you're not just training to be a cardiac surgeon. You're also learning to be a person who happens to do cardiac surgery. Remember the second part. That's from my end. Take care of yourself seriously. Thank you.